Dreams do not have a filter that your normal, polite, waking self puts up.
Welcome to the hidden meaning of dreams with Sweet Georgia Pam.
It does matter what the dreamer themselves associates with those things that come up in the dream.
Spiritual director, dream expert, author, and educator. Sweet Georgia Pam is here to remind us that dreams are the answer. They're always with you. They know you better than you know yourself, and they're always trying to tell you the truth.
There's some back and forth here between you and some awareness.
And now your host, Melissa Carter.
SweetGeorgiaPam.com is the website for free stuff, to set up stuff with Pam, to be a part of her newsletter, to find her on social media. I mean, it's just, I like the word hub, SweetGeorgiaPam.com. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. How are you, Pam?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I thought today might be kind of fun. It's one of those things where everybody's had these dreams and they probably don't talk about it as much. And that is when they have to go to the bathroom. I find many times that I have had
fun. That's gross.
To pee or poop. There have been dreams where I had this urge in my dream. And then when I woke up, I had to look around and make sure I hadn't. Now, there's one time I did. Now, Pam, I'll tell you this really quickly. One time I did pee in the bed after a dream like this. But that was, I'm a kidney transplant recipient. And back in the day when I was sick, they had me on a diuretic. So I was excreting more fluids than normal. And so whatever my dream, whatever triggered my dream,
oh my God.
I actually... And I was in my 30s when this happened, and I was dating somebody, and I was at her house.
You are making so many people feel so comfortable.
So that was
like, thank God, somebody is going to be talking about this at this level of
and bless
honesty.
her heart, she was. I call her Florence Nightingale because she was a great nurse through all that physical drama, and she was very understanding of the fact that I had just wet her bed like I was a child. But anyway, what do you do?
Which might trigger more nightmares.
So I'm starting by being vulnerable and telling this. But no, seriously, there's people who dream about having to go to the bathroom. What does that mean? Is that just a physical response?
It is a very common dream, actually. And it's just like the one we talked about, the other episode we talked about with sex dreams. Like, it's just things that people don't always, these aren't the dreams people are always going to be sharing with anybody else. There's a lot of people going like, really? It's common? Like, yes, these are common dream experiences. And absolutely, it can be physiological. Like, you just have to pee in the middle of the night. And because of the mechanics of sleep, your body is in a paralysis state. And so your dream imagery picks up the urge for you and projects it into a dream state. Mm-hmm. But there is also a whole lot of symbolic significance, actually.
Really?
You're going to say elimination dreams.
I like elimination dreams.
This is very polite. So one meaning is that it's body signals. You just had to go and your dream picked up on it. And so there you go. But another is, depending on if it's pee or if it's poop, you are eliminating toxicity in your life, or you are eliminating excess in your life.
Huh.
So in waking life, if you have indulged in excess recently, you might have a dream. My particular dreams, by the way, are that the toilets, there's no doors on any of the stalls, and all the toilets are overflowing. And so I can't find anywhere to go in my dreams.
Huh.
Excess and toxicity and elimination are the kind of sort of three words that you can play with to see which ones fit in the particular dream that you're talking about, because they're all going to be different and they're all expressing different things.
You're trying to be ladylike, and I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm gonna look.
I guess because my son is 8. I have a son who's 8, and poop is farts and poops, and that's funny, and it's part of conversation all the time. So I'm not fazed by it. But I will say, is there a difference between having to pee in a dream? Because in my dreams, there's never I can't find the bathroom, but I know I got to go. And then poop. I've had more pee dreams, but there's definitely been dreams where I had to poop and I couldn't find any place.
I wrote down, I know those of you that are listening, you're not going to be able to see it.
But yeah, you're trying to show. I couldn't.
The camera might be backwards. In fact, if it is, I can't. But anyway,
so on YouTube, she's trying to show me.
It says full of shit.
So you're not as ladylike as I give any credit for. Is that what it means, that I'm full of shit?
Somebody in waking life, in some way, you are full of shit.
That is possible. I'm for those who are not on YouTube, I'm brown-eyed, and so that's the consistent joke too. That's been the consistent joke about brown-eyed people that were full of shit.
What?
Yes.
I've never heard that before.
Yes. That's why our eyes are brown.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, well, maybe because
something you're doing is full of shit. You're full of shit.
That's hilarious.
So that's another layer you can put on it. Okay. So again, with dream work, it's not cut and dry. Every dream is not going to be, all right, I had to go poop. That means I'm full of shit. And,
right.
And it doesn't fit. So all of this is wrong and doesn't work. That's not how it works.
I was wondering if you're trying to eliminate solid waste as opposed to liquid waste, it means you have more access to do, but obviously it may not have anything to do with the amount of access or, anything that you're trying to get rid of.
That's a really good way to think of it. The way that what came up for me is that urine is clean and poop is the stuff that is cleaned out.
Yeah.
So if it's pee, then it could be like clean digestion. Like I've already ingested all of the learning, all the nutrients I need to, and I'm getting rid of a cleaner version of waste. Waste is the word. Then if it's poop, which is like, there's a whole lot I don't need in here. There's some stuff that isn't good for me, that isn't nutrient rich. All of that is what comes out in poop. So that's a different type of waste dream.
Right.
So we'll go real deep with it, or you just had to pee or poop when you went to bed and your body is hanging onto it and projecting it into your dream state.
I was just thinking of elimination too. I don't know does anybody have a dream about vomiting or like the other end? Because I normally don't, but I don't know if that applies. That
literally came up in a dream somebody shared on TikTok recently.
Did it come up?
Like yes, it came up, come all the way out. So vomiting is undigested and rejecting something that you don't want to digest, right? Vomiting is going back up the wrong way to get it out so that it doesn't move through your system. So if you, I'm making these scenarios up, but if you have been exposed to, for example, if you've had a rough upbringing, but you are trying to be a cycle breaker in your family and you want to raise your children differently than you were raised, then a vomiting dream might represent a way that you are rejecting something that is not agreeing with your system.
That makes sense. It makes sense because if you think about the biology behind all these processes that we never want to talk about, but it's a part of our daily life, not the vomiting, hopefully, but the rest of it is, or should be. If it's not, unless you're on vacation for some.
And here's the other thing too. Dreams are funny with their puns. They're punny. And so a lot of times when I'm talking and I realize I'm over talking, I will say, that's just a bunch of word vomit. Like I just vomited all these ideas up all over you. And that might result in a dream about throwing up. Right.
Right.
I'm hanging on to this third idea. So I'm going to put it out there because that's the way my little brain does things. It's like, oh, and. I'm thinking about my son who, when he was young, had the flu for the first time, and his experience as a little child of what was happening in his body when he was vomiting was very shocking to him and like disturbing of why is this, he literally said, why is this happening to me? So I can understand it as an adult, but when we have experiences in childhood where our bodies turn on us in that way, that's an emotional experience. So then later in waking life or later in adult life, when you have an experience that is shocking in that way, it might pull up the memory of when my body turned on me and I threw up, and it might bring up a throwing up dream. For some dreams, if you're throwing up, then it makes me wonder, like, how is your body turning on you? Or what is happening in waking life that is making you feel so disconnected or confused by your body's reactions?
That's a great point because, yes, for those who don't have children, remember your experience. But my son had the flu for the first time last year. Same thing, where he was like, and the fact it took him so long to get over it and everything that was happening, he was not a fan. I said, well, everybody has the same feeling, son, you know, but you forget. It can be
completely confusing.
Right. But you forget that we've all had that first experience with it. Right.
Yes.
With all of it, with all of the bodily things.
Which goes back to when I work with somebody with their dream, the first place we start is, tell me what your feelings were in the dream about this scenario, right? Because no matter if it's peeing or pooping or toilets that are full or throwing up, I'm always going to start with what your emotional experience was inside the dream, because you might say, it didn't bother me that the toilets were full. It bothered me that there were no doors, right? Or I could have figured that piece out, but this is the piece that was really agitating or irritating to me. And so then we would dial in on that part of it.
In my dreams, it's funny you say that, and I'm glad that you did, because the emotions have a lot to do with how to interpret your dreams, as you've taught us. And most people go into the logical mode of looking at the description of the dream, right? They talk about the description and not about how they felt. Where in my dreams about peeing and pooping, I'm not disturbed by the fact of needing to, and not finding a bathroom is inconvenient. But what I'm upset about is it's keeping me from doing something else. Like, gosh, do I really have to go to the bathroom before I get to do this? And I'm trying to make the judgment call. Do I go ahead and do whatever it was I'm doing in the dream, or going to see whoever I was seeing in the dream, or do I go to the bathroom first? Right. So it's in my dreams, it's the frustration of the series of actions that have to take place. See, that changes the whole memory of the dream when you talk about focusing on the emotions. Fascinating.
Right. Yeah. It can help you really figure out what to look up instead of, like you said, just looking at it as text on a page.
Right.
And looking up what's important to your waking mind.
Yeah. Well, if you're in the car right now listening, then we'll stop talking about having to pee, because we don't want you to have to pee. Anytime somebody suggests it, all of a sudden I have to. SweetGeorgiaPam.com is the website that you can go to find that free guide, 6 Nights to Better Dream Recall, to participate in the show. So if you're one of those people that can't recall their dreams very well and want to, Sweet Georgia Pam is her handle on social media. You can DM her anytime. If you're on YouTube watching us, then leave your dream in the comments, and we'd love to use it on the show. DM her, Sweet Georgia Pam, because we would love to have you on the show.
And I would love to know that you're out there. So if you do go to any of those social media platforms or whatever, just speak up, say hello, tell us where you're from and what's going on. Give us a little wave, because we'd love to connect with you.
And tell your friends. Be sure and subscribe to the podcast and tell all your friends about it. And until next time, Pam, thank you.
Yeah, sweet dreams, everybody.
The content in this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Pam Muller is not a licensed mental health professional. If you or someone you know suffers from severe, persistent nightmares, please seek medical help.